there was a lot that went on in 2018 with Marvel Strike Force. Some good, some bad. In this video, we are talking about the first half of the year. So let's go smash it.
ValleyFlyin.
Hey, what's up, all you Valley Maniacs? ValleyFlyin here. I am back. Welcome to the channel. And yes, in this video, we are taking a look at 2018, the ups and downs of Marvel Strike Force. We're going to go through this chronologically and talk about some of the bigger events as it relates to this game, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Before we get into that, I do want to remind you guys, I am playing on BlueStacks. There is a link for that down below, and nothing else to say, guys. Let's just get into it. Let's have some fun. All right, guys, so let's get into it. First major news of 2018 did not come until February 16th of that year, and this is when we got our first patch 0.3.0, and this game was still in the beta at this point. The game launched beta around November 2017, got a patch for it around December of 2017, but this is the first patch of 2018, and this was a pretty big patch from the PvP perspective, because previous to this update, the only PvP mode was in Arena, but it is not the Arena that we know today. That did not exist. What was the Arena? It was what we know as Blitz now. So this upgrade or update changed that. They added the Arena that we know today, and they renamed the previous Arena to Battlegrounds. Yes, it was not known as Blitz at this point. They added the Ultimus Orb, so Ultimus became farmable, sort of, because before this, any extra shards for 7-star characters wouldn't really do anything. So they allowed you to get this Ultimus shards for this Ultimus Orb, so that's a good thing. Other than that, nothing too major, but because of this big change in the PvP mode, it actually prompted me to start the game. If you look at my login, a lot of people ask, how long have I been playing the game? Well, today, as of me recording this, January 11th, 2019, I've been playing for 327 days, which leads, when I back calculated this, that means I started playing on February 18th of 2018. I always thought I started playing in March or so, but yeah, February 18th is when I started playing the game. I know a lot of people have asked that from time to time, and that is it. All right, so let's get back into the news. All right, so next major news update, and I don't know if it's too major, but it would become major later on. This is Sunday, March 18th, 2018, and this is when we start first hearing of this A/B testing, at least for this Rocket event. At this point, the Rocket event had been going. Some people have been getting it, some people have not. I was lucky enough to get it, but my opinion on this, at this point, the game is still in beta. So the A/B testing, this is when I feel it should be done. But they kept going on in global release, so I'll get to that later. But yeah, so we start to hear rumblings of that right all the way back in March. And then next big issue, boom! The game was launched globally, and in general, I think this is a good thing because people got to play the game. But there was a few things that happened that I did not like. One, and a lot of people didn't like, especially the global launch players, was that Black Widow and Nobu are not farmable anymore because of this update. You know, I hope that changes soon. They're still not farmable, but we got some reworks. Notable ones included Drax. He was pretty bad before. It just wasn't taunting enough to be an effective tank. Jessica Jones got a pretty significant rework to her kit. Kingpin got a rework. Black Panther, Crossbones, amongst others. We got Wolverine added to the daily objectives, and the major thing there was that he still is an X-Men, and a lot of the games before this was wondering, because of the deal Fox owning the movie rights and Marvel and Disney owning the Marvel rights of the game. Would he ever come to the game? And yeah, so that made it clear that X-Men were available to be in this game. So not a major character, but because he's an X-Men and some of the licensing rights that the other games had experienced, I think that was a pretty big thing. The Battleground mode that we talked about previously was renamed to Blitz, and there were 2 shards. There's one for global launch players that started after this date, March 28th, 2018, and there was another one for the people that started before that, the beta players. What else happened? Level cap increase from level 50 to level 60. So everybody had to start grinding again. I think that was a good thing. And then a negative, a lot of the nodes were reworked to become more difficult. I'm not sure why they did that, why they felt that was a need, but it happened. Hopefully they don't keep working and, you know, making a lot of the previous content more difficult. All right, so what happened after that point? Well, we got our next major release. I don't know if there's a lot of news between these releases, but the next release came in conjunction with the Infinity Wars movie, and that was on April 19th, 2018. And we got a new character at this point. We got Thanos. We had a Mad Titan Legendary event. Yes, there was an event that I totally forgot about. All I remember was the raids. We got the raids as well, and new characters were teased. Vision, Doctor Strange, and some more changes to the game, but I think that was the major news of the time. And that's pretty much it for this update. Generally a very positive update in my opinion. A lot of good things happened with this. There were some issues though, but there was very little communication. There were some other issues going on, which led me to make my first call out video here. Yeah, I hadn't done one of these before, but yeah, this was April 25th, 2018. Now, this was a milestone for me. Some of the issues that I had with the game at this time were obviously the communication, because the communication was non-existent at all. There was nothing from the devs, and I wanted to communicate more. Other issue, believe it or not, that I had with this game, and things have changed much since then, was that there was nowhere to spend money with on this game. And why was that important to me? Because I played Marvel's Avengers Alliance 2. And I know what happened to that game. I know what happened to Marvel's Avengers Alliance Part 1. I know what happened to Marvel's Heroes Omega, and I did not want this game going down the same path. One thing that I remember from MMA 2 is that there was nowhere for me to spend money. So I was like, come on, I wanted this game to survive, give players a chance to spend money. I don't even care if the offers are good, just give it a chance. And man, they've taken that all the way in the other direction. But one thing that happened after this video, 2 days later, and I don't know if it was related, but I hope it was related. I like to think in my head that it was related. But we got our first communication from the dev team, April 27th, 2018, on Reddit. I want to introduce myself on behalf of the Marvel Strike Force team. This is our first official post here, but not our first visit. While we've been reading and listening to your feedback on the subreddit, we have not done a great job of communicating back to you. That's going to change. And yes, it did change. They've communicated. Their communication went from 0 to mediocre at best. There's still a lot more communication that they could give, but it did improve at that point. But, you know, improving from, you know, not very good from nothing is, it's, you know, it is what it is. And then, boom, May 10th, 2018, we got the Mega Orb. And previous to this, all we had was the basic in the premium orbs. And what was this mega orb? Well, this was kind of like the premium orb, but there was no minions in it. And you could get 50 to 100 shards of a random RNG character. And that was when the mega orb was released. Everybody got a free one at that point. I think I pulled Luke Cage or something. I don't remember. It wasn't a very good pull, but that was in May. And then later in May 16th, 2018, we got the Deadpool release. Release 1.2, and it released Deadpool. Now, in my opinion, this was one of the best updates that Fox Next has ever done. Not a lot of negative things, in my opinion. You know, some of the releases, they're taking a couple steps backwards and a couple steps forward. This release, at least at this point in time, was viewed very positively. No real steps backwards, no real negative things to talk about. And I think, at least for me, the big thing here was the difficulty was reduced on Chapter 6 heroes and Chapter 6 villains. Now, if you remember, during global release, when that happened, we got the difficulty increased, and that angered a lot of players. Well, the difficulty was brought back, and to me, that signaled that Fox Next was listening. A lot of optimism was happening from the community. I had a lot of optimism that even though there were still some issues around the game, they were listening to us, and these issues would be fixed. We also got Deadpool. Deadpool was released in a very player-friendly way. He had an event. He had a raid. The raid was fun. It wasn't as restrictive as the raids are now. Very fun character. We got a lot of shards, and it was just fun to play at this time. We had a Cable Blitz going on to release Cable, and keep in mind, the timers for Blitz were 6 hours at the time, not 2 hours as they are now. So it was not as much of a grind to play Blitz as it is now. Not as much of a time sink to be competitive in this game. I enjoyed that part of the game. All right, next, we had the Iron Man event return. Now, this is the first time we've had a legendary event since global release, and this was right around June 17th, 2018. And it just a lot of good stuff happening around this time, but as you know, they can't stay good forever. What else happened? Well, we had some rumblings of more AB offers going on. Now, like I said previously in the beta, I think it's fine. I think it's appropriate, but since it was released globally, since the official launch, my opinion is they should not be there because it gives someone an advantage and someone a disadvantage. And in a game like this where people are spending a lot of money to get that advantage, just to give that to someone for free just does not make a lot of sense in my opinion, and it angers people. Even if you're the person getting the advantage, you know that you got that because of luck. I felt the same way when I got that rocket one, when I found the rocket event, when I found that other people didn't get it. You know, it's not anything skill based, it's just luck, and I didn't like that. What else happened at this time? Well, the Deadpool raids ended and the Thanos raids came back around this time, and these Thanos raids, they're a little crazy because the difficulty was increased so much that there were not a lot of alliances that were able to 100% it. And if you did not get 100%, you did not get any shards for Thanos. This was not a good time for the game at this point. Even though this is the same release, they started making back steps at this time. Not known at that May period, but it was about a month later that this stuff started happening. Crazy stuff. I think there was less than 10 alliances, if I'm not mistaken, that were able to 100% that. 10 alliances out of how many thousands that are playing this game at this time. So just not a good move in my opinion. And then a few days later, we got communication from Fox Next that they listened to the community about this Gold Gate controversy. Their response, this came on Sunday, June 24th, so a few days after that video, where I called them out again. And my ego is hoping that when I call them out, it does get a good response, because they said that Gold Gate has ended. We want to confirm this test is now ended. Users have returned to receiving regular daily objective rewards. Now, what was this? Some people were getting way more gold than others, and other people were just receiving the normal amount of gold. But they didn't backtrack on it totally. They said, we'll continue to use tests in the future. We do plan on taking a closer look at how we will run them from now on. So mixed messages here, but Goldgate officially ended on June 24th. And then, boom, we got this Ant-Man and Wasp update. Now, this was not received very well, and I think a lot of that was due to the controversy that was going on previously with those extremely difficult Thanos raids, the Goldgate, and more AB offers happening. And, you know, the Ant-Man event was fun. He was released here. This was on June 27th, so end of the month, release 1.3, and this is where I think a lot of the extreme negativity started, because there's a lot of stuff that went on in not just June, but July. July is where a lot of the decisions that I disagreed with started happening. One of them was this July 12th, this Wasp event that happened that was just extremely difficult, and it was a limited time event. And when the normal campaign nodes are extremely difficult, or the challenge are extremely difficult, I did not have a problem with it. But when it was a limited time event that was way too difficult for most people to finish, it was not good. Now, I did end up finishing and 3-starring the whole thing, but I just didn't think that it was the right move for them to do that at the time. What else happened with this update? Well, it was not major at the time, but it did become major later on when they introduced the orange mats. Well, this is when they started the raid season rewards. Now, the rewards were okay, but like I said, it would become very important later on. And that's pretty much it for this update. Moving on, July 3rd, 2018. And August was probably the lowest point in Marvel's Strike Force until Red Stars came around. Now, the difference is there's some people that actually like Red Stars. I'm not one of those people, but there are some people that like them. And this July and August period, there was a lot of anger and a lot of negativity towards Fox Next at some of the decisions that they were making. First thing that happened, July 3rd, level cap was increased from level 60 to 65. And in itself, not that big of a deal. It did happen a little quicker than a lot of people were thinking, but everybody knew that the level cap would eventually be increased, and this is when it happened. Next thing was, and this is a little bigger. Couple days later, July 5th, 2018. This is when this game became a huge time sink. The Blitz cooldowns went from 6 hours to 2 hours. And man, the amount of time to Blitz competitively is very much increased at this point. I think this comment right here sums it up best. I'm going to try not to swear here though, but what the actual F is this? What the F? How are people with jobs, school, lives expected to play and compete? I don't even understand their thought process, and I agree. And I hope 2019 brings the return of 6-hour cooldowns. I hope when Fox takes a look at the numbers, they are seeing that people aren't spending more money because of these 2-hour cooldowns. I don't know if that's the case because it's still around, but I'm hoping that's what they're seeing, and this returns to these 6-hour cooldowns, or maybe a medium 4 hours or something, just to make Blitz a little less grindy, because I think the less grindy it is, the more longevity people are willing to put into the game, and I hope this game stays around. Next. All right, character balance upgrades. Now, not everything in July was bad. I think this was a good thumbs up moment for the game. Vision, he kind of sucked when he came out. Not a very good character, but July 6, 2018, he got a rework. Spider-Man, very mediocre, and he got a rework. These two characters are still two of the top characters in the game, probably very god tier. If you look at them as standalone characters, they are two of the best characters in the game, and this was a positive thing. Another positive thing that happened at this time, around this time, was Star-Lord. We got the Star-Lord event. This went on from, this started on July 13th, 2018. Another thing that happened around this time was that the Blitz shards were combined. Previous to this, you would have people in beta in one shard and everybody else in another shard. And a few blitzes before this, the global launch players started passing up the scores of the beta players. So I think this was another positive thing that was introduced to the game at this time. But all of that didn't last very long, as we got a little more negativity, and this was a lot of fear and stuff that happened, because this thing didn't actually happen, but it contributed to the general negative feeling of the game at that time. And this was when they were talking about nerfs. Now, this was rumored way before this official announcement came out, but the official announcement about this came out on July 13th, 2018. And right here, they said, we are contemplating a reduction in the speed up and slow status effects from 50 to 30. And, you know, I think that it makes sense to do that, but nerfs never feel good. I don't think they're good for the game. I don't think they're good for any game, even if it does help it in the long term. It doesn't feel good at the time. They're also talking about nerfing Crossbones and Yondu, and a lot of people were upset about this and kind of not wanting to invest in those characters because of the fear of those characters being nerfed. So even though this did not happen, they did not get nerfed and they did not change the speed effect from 50% to 30%, this did create a big negative feeling at the time. So, and then, in addition to the Thanos raids being way harder than they were, and a lot of people not being able to pass it, we got Deadpool raids return. People were happy, but then they saw that there was a 2-hour time limit on these raids for these El Scorcho version of the raids, and man, it was tough at that time, because to coordinate with a global alliance for people with many different time zones, it was tough to coordinate. My alliance was not able to do it for a while. It took us over a week to figure out how to get everybody on the same page, and we had some people internationally staying up in the middle of the night to do it, and it was just not fun. So I'm going to end part 1 right there, July 20th, 2018, and part 2, I'm going to start off a little bit before this with a big scandalous story that is so big that I wanted to give it the attention that it deserved. Foxneck said, hey, you guys don't like what's going on in the game right now? Well, hold my beer, because I got something even worse for you. I'm starting off part 2 talking about this dude, the BitConnect dude, that created a whole bunch of
a lot of hullabaloo.
Yes, he created a lot of hullabaloo with the MSF community, and this got so scandalous, in fact, that other non-MSF coverage was talking about this. So mainstream gaming media was talking about this scandal, and I'm gonna start off part 2 talking about this. There's a lot to talk about with it, so it's gonna be a fun ride, and we're gonna finish off the rest of 2018 in part 2. So I will see you then. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel, smash on that like button, and join the notification squad. I am ValleyFlyin. I will see you next time. Before I go, I have one question for you though. What you gonna do, brother, when ValleyFlyin, all the Valley Maniacs come down on you, dude? ValleyFlyin, out.